Nice to have you with me here on The Doctor Is In.
You have always been a voice of reason through all of this.
Appreciate your time, what you're doing for America.
I give you advice, and it doesn't work at all.
You are definitely not inept by any means.
I like to hear women say that about me.
Whatever advice you're going to send my way, I am 100% taking it.
I can't tell you what to do. I will not tell you what to do.
Okay. Well, thanks.
That wasn't the answer I wanted.
Are you kidding me?
Great stuff, Dr. Ray. Glad I called.
I've scheduled my day around listening to your radio show.
You don't have to laugh so hard.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Expanding your superego while shrinking your id. A little Freudian lingo there. Very nice to have you here on The Doctor Is In. I have spoken to the powers that be at EWTN and Ave Maria. Made a request that all questions on this program be true-false. I have a 50-50 chance at those. It'll cut down on the email that I get that says, Dr. A, you didn't cover that right. You didn't say it right. You should have said this. So true, false, I can go through them real quick. I mean, we got 9 lines here, and I can just go true, false, mostly true, sometimes false. You can do it that way. Or multiple choice. If you give me some multiple choices, I can pick. Always pick C. Anyway, but for now, they haven't answered me. So for now, it's all short answer essay. You give the test. I try to find a good answer. To give the test, you call in. 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get onto the program. If you have a question regarding situation in your life, person in your life, frustration in your life, emotion in your life, question in your life, past, present, future, something. Two of us can maybe put our heads together, come up with something. It is rather surprising that sometimes the slightest changes in the way you look at something or do something have a major impact. They change the momentum. They change the trajectory of what you've been doing in that relationship or in those circumstances, or whether it's a job or a kid or a marriage, family member, something. Little tiny steps can result in some pretty big ripple effects. So please, give me a call. I would very much love to hear from you. 877-573-7825. Good Lord permitting, they got me doing a couple of comedy gigs. Next week, Wednesday, I'm going to be in Plymouth, Our Lady of Good Counsel in Plymouth, Wednesday night. And then Thursday night, I'm going to be at the Maumee Theater. Been there before. It was a pretty neat place to do a comedy gig. Yeah, it all happened back on the Good News Cruise when their comedian flopped, didn't do well. So they approached me. They said, can you do it? I said, well, I'll give it a shot. Went over reasonably well, and now I got a byproduct in my career. So if you're interested in those, Andrew, where do they sign up for those? They go to the Ave Maria website? Is that where they sign up, or they just go? I think both times are 6 o'clock. It's free. I'm free? That's it? Oh, there is pizza. Okay. All right, there is pizza. Not pepperoni, just plain, I would assume. And we're not going to spring like that. Pepperoni, no anchovies. 6 o'clock, both nights. So if you'd like to come, be delighted to see you there, all you folks in that area. A pretty vast listening audience in that Michigan area. Last we assessed it, it was close to 38 people. Any given time. What if Dr. Ray is free? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm free, but the pizza costs. Yeah, that's interesting. Andrew jumped on that right away quick. 877-57-EQUAL. That's the number to call to get on to the program. Jesus was not a good man. You heard me right. Jesus was not a good man. If that's all he was. If he were only a man, then he knew when he talked and acted like God, it was an act. He knew he wasn't God. So really, he set people up to be punished and killed, to follow him. If he truly thought he was God, but he wasn't, then he was similar to some of the people I used to assess at the state hospitals. He was crazy. He was either God, or he was something far worse. Something far worse. You can't get around Jesus by saying he was a good man. Although that's fascinating, because many of the intelligentsia, people at universities, folks who fancy themselves great thinkers, just declare, well, he was a good teacher, like Buddha, like a skinny Buddha, a fat Gandhi. He was a good teacher. No, he wasn't. He didn't even know his identity if he wasn't God. He was claiming to be something he wasn't. So no, there's no middle ground. As C.S. Lewis said, he didn't intend to give us a middle ground. He either is who he said he is, or he's a lot worse. He's not a normal human being. That's your choice. Now, I have seen people try to get around this conundrum by saying, well, the stuff about him thinking and talking and acting like God, his followers put that in there. They wrote it in, because when they were writing this stuff, they had to make him be a little bigger than he was. He's not just another rabbi guru getting a bunch of followers, getting thumbs up. No, we got to make him be bigger than he is, because we have any chance of overthrowing the Roman Empire. We've got to really go at this at a different angle. We're not going to throw him over militarily, so we got to figure out, how do we change heart and minds? I know what we'll do. We'll make this guy God. Now that's the thinking. I've heard that thinking. It's a nice little speculative hypothesis by people who want to essentially do away with having to make the decision regarding who Jesus was. But here's a problem with that. We have pretty good historical evidence that the apostles, almost all of them, were martyred. Why? You going to be martyred by making stuff up about a guy? You can give up your life for that? And here's another thing. We know they traveled. St. Thomas, tradition tells us he was in India. Matthew, Africa. Wait a minute. You're trying to overthrow the Roman Empire. You don't have to go to India. Why? Nothing over there. So don't go to India. What are you trying to preach? You trying to preach a lie? That this guy was God? What for? So he either is who he said he is, or you can't trust the gospel as history. You don't even have to trust it as God's word. Just trust it as history. These guys wrote down the things he said and did, and you have to say that when they wrote it down, they embellished it. Wildly embellished it. And if you say that, you have to say, like a good detective, what was their motive? Why? As far as we can tell, everything we can tell, these guys were pretty faithful Jews. So for them to declare that some guy was God when they knew he wasn't, But they jeopardized their whole soul. They would jeopardize their eternal destiny. Jews didn't do that. Jews were fiercely monotheistic. You didn't go saying, oh, yeah, by the way, this guy's the son of God. Yeah, that's it. We'll make him a son of God. That's what we'll do. This makes no sense. None. Why would they not only jeopardize their eternal destiny, their souls, but their lives? For what? To make up a bunch of stuff about this guy? But here's the other problem you have. Let's just say he was crazy. Okay. Then let's look at what he said. Take away all the stuff that was saying he was God, acting as he was God, talking like he's God. Take all that away. Just take away his teachings, his parables. I'm a shrink. I've read them many times. Not because I'm such a wonderful Bible scholar, but because I go to Mass. And if you go to Mass for 3 years, you pretty much hear the whole gospel. So there's not a whiff of craziness in what he talked about. Nothing. You would expect, well, if he's crazy, okay, then this whole idea that I'm God is going to spill over into stuff he says about how to live your life. But it didn't. The stuff he said about how to live your life is sublime. It makes total sense. And, whether psychology admits it or not, read my book, Jesus the Master Psychologist, research supports the kind of stuff Jesus said for a more contented, stable, peace-filled living. Well, where's the craziness in his teaching then? Is this craziness only circumscribed in his self-identity? If you don't know who you are really crazy. Because that is at the core of reality. Who are you? And if Jesus said, well, I'm God, that's who I am, well, then he's crazy. If he's not God. Or he's very calculating if he knew he was a God. And he figured, I got to get some followers. What's the best way to do this? But even at that doesn't make any sense. See, there's so much that doesn't make any sense. Because he's not going to get followers by saying he's God when he's in a fierce Jewish community who says our God is one. Wait a minute. Why would you try to convince them otherwise? See, the only way that he could convince them otherwise is he had to show it. He had to do things that they couldn't account for. Miracles, signs, wonders, where they said, how does he do this? He's claiming this, but yet he can do this. Even his enemies knew that. Even his enemies said, yeah, we'll admit you do it, but you do it through the power of Satan. That's how you do it. And, of course, Jesus, as always, has a wonderful response. A couple sentences, he just shoots them down. So, don't let anybody tell your kids if they go to college, or anybody you talk to who says, well, I'll admit Jesus was a good man. He was a good teacher. He had a lot of nice ideas about how to live life. You just look at him and you say, well, you must not know much about the Gospels at all then. Because that's not even a possibility. He can't have been just a good man. 877-573-7825. 877-57 And boy, I'm going to jump all over this call from Michael because I don't have to do shameless promotion. I'll let Michael do it.
Welcome to Advanced Dentistry Center family. This is Dr. Metti, and our team strives to treat you like family in a loving and compassionate way as we focus on serving you in a Christ-like manner. We do this by emphasizing prevention and general well-being for a lifetime. Our private practice is small, personal, state-of-the-art, and innovative, with the goal to educate and motivate our patients in improving their oral health. It is through a partnership with you that you will achieve the goals for your smile. Advanced Dentistry is serious about the level of care we provide, with attention to details and an exceptional level of care, skill, and judgment. We are thrilled for the opportunity to serve you.
Dr. Matty and the team invite you to visit them at advanceddentistrycenter.com or call them at 248-594-9592. That's 248-594-9592. AdvancedDentistryCenter.com.
Hello, Steve Ray here from Footprints of God Pilgrimages. Want to celebrate some amazing anniversaries this year in France? We'll visit Normandy Beach to celebrate our heroic military for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Also, the 100th anniversary of the canonization of St. Therese of Lisieux. Join us this October for our Saints and Shrines of France and a visit to the newly renovated Notre Dame Cathedral.
Find the Ave Maria Radio travel tab at AveMariaRadio.net.
I don't think we've replaced our siding since we moved in 20 years ago. But I'm sure it's still fine, right?
We better call Mighty Dog Roofing of Ann Arbor.
Damaged siding can cause mold buildup and weaken your home structure. Protect your family by calling local Catholics Dan and Mary Flanagan at Mighty Dog Roofing for a free inspection of your siding, roof, or windows. Mighty Dog Roofing, 734-224-4916. That's 734-224-4916.
One of the things we do on Living Right with Dr. Ray is that we seek human interest stories. People whose journey in faith has either come from tragedy or has come from a lightning bolt striking them or some unique experience that people could relate to at some level. That's kind of where we angle our guests, although we have had guests that are expertise in certain areas. Well, Michael is calling from Buffalo, New York. He and his wife will be guests. Hi, Michael.
Honored to be on your show.
Thank you, sir. What's up?
So the 20th of August, I guess you're coming in the 19th and the 20th to Buffalo to WNED Studios.
Yeah.
I'm calling. My wife, Sarah, and I are going to be guests. And actually today is 25 years of the day I met my wife crossing the street at a Christian music festival. And
I just want to know how do you actually connect with your wife crossing the street? What do you say? You go, hey, you're cute. Want to go get some coffee?
Well,
how do you do that?
No, it literally happened by accident. Like I bumped into her, and they were looking for the Laser Light show, and at the Darien Lake Music Festival, like there's a Christian music festival. She's with her Protestant group. I'm with my Catholic group, and I don't know, like really a series of things happened. You know, like I wasn't like popular with girls. Like there's really no chance for me.
So
and it's just amazing out of nowhere.
You were well above your trajectory. You outkicked your coverage. You're thinking there's no way.
Way above. And it was just a series of things that happened that you'll find out that. And again, my wife wasn't even Catholic. You know, I mean, she was Protestant with a Protestant group. I was with the Catholic group. I got prayed over that day. Right, came out of mass. I was lost. I didn't know where any of my group was. There were like 50 Catholics there, and I couldn't find anybody. So I was, I'm not very perceptive. I saw her. I just literally was looking around. I wouldn't even noticed. It wasn't even like I was attracted. I just. She got in my way, and
whoa, easy, stopped. Michael, easy.
It wasn't like that.
I don't want to have to cover you during the show, but when you said I wasn't even attracted,
at home too.
Watch your choice of words there, big boy. I wasn't even attracted.
She's beautiful, but I just.
She was just a faceless person in a crossing of the street.
But I tell you, she's a very strong, confident woman. Was never going to be Catholic. I married her knowing that. Just real, I don't give too much, but we went to both churches, Wesleyan Church and the Catholic Church every week for 15 years. And I always said, I just want my kids to receive the sacraments. I'm going to teach them that, receive the Eucharist, things like that. And I tell you, when she started listening to Catholic radio, Dr. Ray and Teresa Tambio, I think it opened the door for her. I mean, I wasn't the one, I prayed for her, but I wasn't the one that was going to change her heart. There was other people that came into her life. Different things happened. But I guess leave it in the cliffhanger. You know, that's our story. You'll see how she ended up in the faith and how she's led the way in some respects. You know, here's this cradle Catholic that I was all my life, and you know, loved the Lord, always had a great childhood, and you know, I've always been moved to Christ, and I've always been part of the church. But I don't want to give away the ending. But that's it so far.
Well,
hopefully that gets you to sign up at stationofthecross.com and click on your picture's right on there. You click on it, you can sign up. It's free, you know, and you get to be part of the studio audience. It'd be great to go back to that WNED. That's where my father worked for 35 years as vice president. Created the show Reading Rainbow. It's just going to be interesting, all these things that it'd be cool. I'm excited. And I know I have a lot of people in Buffalo that know us.
Well, if you
want to come down to the show,
bring your friends. Stack up the audience. We have guests do that a lot.
I'm going to pack up the audience.
I got 25 people coming. You know, that kind of thing. Well, I'm going to have fun with your wife, first of all. This chance meeting crossing the street, you probably went against the don't walk sign, and you bumped into her, and she wasn't attractive. You said that, and I'm going to nail you on that one.
Very attractive. She's very attractive. I'm just oblivious. But yes, it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, I just want to say, Michael, that is pretty much the oldest courtship trick in the book. The old keep crossing the street back and forth for an hour or two till you bump into the girl you want to marry. Yeah, oldest trick in the book.
There were no prospects, Dr. Ray. It couldn't have been just more random. God, I was, 28 years old, and I pretty much said, you know what, I guess I'm not going to be married. I guess not. And God, when it's time, when it's ready, it'll just happen. God, you almost can't screw it up. I mean, you can only screw up by not saying yes or not following God's will or not praying. Those are ways you can screw it up. But when you just in God's will, when it's time, it'll happen. So.
Well, apparently your being Catholic wasn't a roadblock for her.
Well, you'll have to listen to this. You'll have to.
So I got to be at that show then. What you're telling me is I got to show up.
You have to be at that show. You got to ask the right questions because yes, it was a roadblock. It wasn't just yes, I'll marry you. So there were things that happened where we're like, oh, okay, we're not getting married anymore.
All right, okay. So there was a little bouncy there. All right.
So stay tuned.
Well, I'm glad you called. Yes, now I don't have to do the plug for it, as it is the 19th. Now, you at the 5 o'clock or 7:15 show?
I'm on the 20th at 7:15. Okay. So this is the second day. Yeah, I mean, you guys, everyone can sign up for all the shows. There's 4. I know it's I think Gary Hebert's on 7:15. Larry Richards there, and I'm there on the second day with my wife, 7:15. With my 9 children, which you've met, but you don't.
Well, you gonna bring your kids?
Most of them, the ones that are good, I'll bring. I have to see about the 5-year-old. We'll see if
bring
if we're on the stage. Who's going to watch them? I'll find my family comes. That's why I'm calling.
We'll take care of that. Hey, there's a psychologist on staff there. We'll take care of it. If it's an emergency brat fit, we can handle it.
Yeah, awesome.
Great, Michael. Hey, I'm glad you called.
Yeah, thanks. You had a big role in my just my growth and my wife's growth, and I appreciate you.
Well, if that's true, if somehow I was involved in any of that, I was reading in the June issue of Purgatory Today that said that if you're in media and somebody listens to what you say and it helps them, that's like 3 days off purgatory. Yeah, look it up.
Okay, 3 days.
Yeah, June issue.
We'll take it.
Thanks, Michael. Take care, man. This is Dr. Ray. 877-57-EQUAL is the number. I want to talk to you some more, please. We got time. It's the bottom of the show. A lot of time. A lot of lines open. So give us a call. I'll be delighted to find out what's going on with you. making too many plans ahead of time. Because the word premeditated gets thrown around. Excuse me, in the courtroom. We have a cough button, we don't have a sneeze button. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get onto the program. I know the numbers there in Buffalo are expanding pretty good. People usually wait till the last couple of weeks. And then part of what happens, too, is that people stay. They were going to come for the first show, and then they decide to stay. I'd like to think it's me, but I think it's a pizza. All right, now Sid has a cultural commentary here, and I want to... Anytime there's some comment on something that has happened culturally, I kind of tie that into the overall psychological effects of it. Hi, Sid.
Hi.
What's up?
Well, a few months ago, I was listening to you as driving, and I heard a lady ask you why were these things that were supposed to be eradicated years ago that they people said that was going to happen, that it didn't happen. Well, back years ago, when we had a good good doctors that would give you immunizations, my doctor told me in 1967 that about in 1990 measles would be coming back, which that's exactly what happened. And he said we'll have a big outbreak eventually of it because people do not want to get immunized. And the World Health Organization, back in that day when they were the World Health Organization, were trying to eradicate measles throughout the whole world. And because people decided they didn't want to get immunized, it's coming back.
Well, if you point to just a decision not to get immunized, you're left with some people don't get immunized simply because they skip it. They don't even think about it, or they don't think about it for their kids. So there's a certain amount of apathy as opposed to resistance. So that's a factor. Secondly, yes, I think it's safe to say that measles has not exploded. It's not certainly epidemic levels. It is cases that are here and there, isolated, and certain pockets. So that can be. But I think what you're tapping into, Sid, is the idea that if an institution loses trust, then what happens is that the legitimate stuff that they recommend is now viewed with suspicion. Vaccines, in the proper role, have been a magnificent thing for the human condition. Magnificent. Okay, they've just saved so many complications and deaths. But what happened was, if there starts to be debate about the necessity of certain recommended or even ordered vaccines, then people start to mistrust across the board. And then they say, even something like the measles vaccine, which has proven itself enormously effective, I don't want that because I don't like what vaccines do, and we're doing too many of them all at once, and all of a sudden, is there any kind of tie-in with some of these regressive autistic sort of behaviors? So you're right. What happens is people use a broad brush and say, I want no vaccine, rather than finding out, or attempting anyway, if you can, to find out which ones have a track record of being good for you. Now, why didn't it eradicate the measles? Well, because you can't. You're not gonna totally eradicate something. The human condition is too diverse. There are too many ways that people can avoid or ignore getting treatment. That can happen all the time. And again, and I think the immunologists will back me up on this, no vaccine is 100% effective. So it may be way up there, but not 100. All righty. Sid, thank you. You bring up some good points that tap into what's going on out there now in our culture, which is becoming more and more wary and suspicious of supposed experts and people in authority, and unfortunately, I think the experts have brought it upon themselves. 877-573-7825. Let's go to Donna from PA. Hello, Donna.
Hi, Dr. Ray. How are you?
Well, nothing gaining on me.
Okay, good. Well, I've got a question about my mother. She's 96 years old. She does nothing but complain. She doesn't seem to see that that all the things we do for her are trying to help her. She just sees them as obstructive, and I just can't seem to field it. My sister and I have a twin sister. We're at our wits' end, and I don't know how to deal with her anymore. She just won't cooperate with things we need her to do. She wants to live with us when we're not physically able to take care of her. So we're in the process of getting her into a nursing home, and she's obstructive. It's very difficult.
Well, when you say she drives you crazy in so many words, what is it that is so hard to accept that she's 96 years old and she's flailing against what life is doing to her?
Well, we're accused of a lot of things that aren't real.
Mm-hmm.
We're accused of not understanding her. She is kind of fabricating things now, and so you don't know where you are because you don't know if it's the truth or not. And we found out so many things were untrue, and she's very paranoid. It's just hard to deal with her on a day-to-day basis because she goes up and down, and it's been like this. Actually, she's been sort of like it her whole life. She's the type of woman that brought you up. Well, it's not what you did, it's you I disapprove of. So it's been kind of difficult in that way, and it's still that way. So that's a hard one.
Do you think that your mother is deliberately making up these stories? She's deliberately paranoid. She's deliberately lying. Do you think that's completely under her cognitive control?
No, but she loves to have control. And I'm 71 years old, or 70 years old, not quite yet 71, and she still wants to control both I and my sister. And she has these little manipulative ways of trying to do that. And yet she needs a lot of physical care, which we've been providing for her, and we're at a point where we can't do that anymore. And she never was a nurturing type of woman, and now it's just she feels so free to complain about everything instead of trying to help us.
All right. Stay there, Donna. That music tells me I have to shut up. Not you. You don't have to, but I do. I'm ordered around by Anna Kruchek, who controls all the buttons. Stay there. We will talk about a little bit of why this is getting to you so much. 877-57-EQUAL. That's the number to get onto the program, Dr. Ray. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Ray Guarendi. I'm talking with Donna from Pennsylvania. Let me recap quickly. Donna's been taking care of her mom, and the sister is also helping. Mom's 96, and as Donna looks back on the history of her mother, she wasn't exactly the most warm and nurturing person, but she's gotten progressively much more difficult as she's gotten older. Now, this bothers Donna, because Donna and her sister are doing their very best to take care of her, but they're losing their ability to take care of her, too, for physical reasons. They can't anymore. Donna made mention that her mother can get kind of paranoid. She can get accusatory. She can be resistant. She does not appreciate the help that they're giving. She's difficult. Still there, Donna?
Oh, I'm still here, Dr. Ray.
Here's the thing. Now, this is going to sound like a funny question.
Ask away.
Why is that getting to you?
Dr. Ray, Valerie and I, my sister, we're just worn down. It's been many years like this, and we just feel psychically worn down. We feel it every day on a daily basis, and we haven't felt like we've had too much of a life of our own for many years now, because Mom she needs a lot of care, and we try to give it to her as much as we can, and so psychically we just feel shot.
Well, I can understand
tired.
physically. I mean, you've sacrificed a lot. For years, you guys have been taking care of her, and that's just a beautiful thing. Beautiful. You probably don't have any time left in purgatory.
We love her, yeah.
However, when I said, why is this getting to you, it sounds like, looking at your mom at 96 years of age, and I can't diagnose her from here, but from what you described, it sounded like there's some dementia going on.
I think so, too.
Okay, so you cannot expect her then to be reasonable or cooperative.
But what do I say to her when I'm confronted with this irrationality? I'm running out of ways to come back.
You don't say anything, honey.
You
don't say anything. You don't say anything. No, you don't argue with her. Why would you argue with her?
I was hoping I could get her to remember what the truth was.
No. And it...
Okay.
No, because her world, as she sees it, is reality.
Okay.
And when you try to reason with her, she just... Okay, let me ask you this question. When was the last time that you tried to reason with her, you tried to get her to see things a certain way, and she said to you, Donna, you're so right. I hadn't looked at it that way. Yes, that makes total sense.
It's
Thank
been
you.
years.
Yeah, gotcha. Years. So that's why I said, why is this still getting to you? Because you know exactly the dynamic here. The dynamic
and I'm engaging her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
what do I say? Just nothing?
Nothing. You make decisions.
Silence?
Make decisions. Okay. In other words, you've decided she's probably going to have to go into assisted living at the least. You've decided that. That's got to happen. Now, whether she's mad about it, she fights you, she resists, irrelevant. You got to make a decision as to what's best for her well-being. You have to make that decision. So she's not going to understand it. She's not going to say, oh, I finally come to the conclusion this is the better way. Thank you for all you've done all these years. I'll be eternally grateful. That's not going to happen. You did what you did because you are who you are. Because you are a good daughter and because you wanted to live according to what our Lord said. You take care of your aged parents. You did that. What frustrates you, and I love the way you put it, psychically exhausted. That's a good one. What frustrates you is that, one, she doesn't understand it, and two, you don't get credit for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know. You don't need credit for it. You did what was right. God's giving you credit for it. You did the good thing.
Yeah, and I believe in that, too. We do it for the good God and because we love her. But it's just harder and harder. That's all.
Well, she's 96, and you can make a fair assessment that part of her thinking process has deteriorated.
Yeah.
It's an unusual person that at 96 doesn't have some struggles with their thinking. Yeah, we hear about these clear 96-year-olds, but they're a minority.
Yeah.
So your mom's like that. You say your mom or your grandma? It's your mom, right?
My mom, yeah.
Yeah. Eric put grandmother up there. Eric, you're fired. Never mind.
Okay, no, that's okay, Eric.
All right.
May I ask you one more question about this?
Well, you just did. You just said, may I ask you one more question? So really what you meant to say is, may I ask you two more questions? Because you just used one up. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is an important one for me because my mother is always complaining of being lonely. She's lonely in her home, but now she's complaining she's in rehab. She's lonely there when she's made lots of friends, and it doesn't seem to count. So I don't know what to say to her anymore when she says that because she's lonely there, she's lonely here. It doesn't matter.
Nothing. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You say things like, Mom, there's people there that really like you, and you associate with them, and it looks like you're happy when you're there. And, no, I'm not. And then that just frustrates you.
She tells me she's putting on an act for me.
Yes, exactly.
Which I knew wasn't true because she was having fun.
I got a question for you, dear lady. Why are you beating your head against a cinder block wall?
I don't know.
I know why. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Donna, I'll tell you why. Because I don't want it to be this way.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's right.
That summarizes it all.
Yes, but it is.
It is that way. Yeah, God bless you. It is that way, and so because of that, you can't sort out how much of it is her deteriorated thinking and how much of it is her curmudgeon-y personality, and how much of it is she's lack of gratitude, and how much of it is she's probably very, very unhappy because she's looking at her life around her dramatically constricting.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel good. She can't see well. She can't hear well. She hurts all over the place. She can't drive anymore. She can't do anything. She's housebound, and on and on and on and on. And she's miserable, and you get the brunt of it. So what I would suggest is that you do what you need to do to take care of her, but you separate from all the complaining, all the arguing, all the whining, all of the discontent that she's showing you.
Okay. I'll work on that. Thank you. Dr. Ray, I respect you very much, and I needed to reach out today to talk about this, and I'm very grateful you were there.
Well, you needed me to kind of psychologically, well, let's see, how should I put this? Psychically de-exhaust you.
Yes, and a neutral voice, an uninvolved voice. Yeah, my husband's here to talk to and all that, but it's nice to have an uninvolved voice and a professional, and I thank you.
You are welcome. How sweet. Okay. Thanks, Donna. You do well. Okay. That's the toughest part when you have an aging parent. Trying to sort out what is within their thinking control and what isn't. And how much isn't. And if it's only 22% and you say to yourself, well, they still got 78% competence. They should be able to be more agreeable, more reasonable. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And the other problem is, again, they're struggling with their own social constriction. Here's a woman who 40, 50 years ago had a full life. Maybe she wasn't the easiest person to get along with, but she had a full life. She could come and go as she pleased. She could hear, she could think, she could drive. And she's looking at her life going, this stinks. This stinks. It takes great strength, God's grace, to age gracefully. It truly, truly does. The beginning of Donna's question was she complains constantly. If I were to find one temptation that is way too easy to yield to as we get older, it's the temptation to complain. This hurts, that hurts, I can't do this, I can't go there. These people do this, this person died. We complain because life constricts. And we focus on loss at every level. And it's just so easy to complain. I'll be back.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Are you paying high prices with a traditional health insurance company that pays for things that violate your conscience? There's an alternative available. Solidarity HealthShare is a community of faithful individuals and families that never share into immoral medical services, all while saving you money with prices starting as low as $85 per month for singles and $512 for families. Never fund another abortion with your healthcare dollars. Call 844-313-4999 to learn more.
Food for the Journey's Sister Ann Shield.
And trust is something that we're lacking these days. We don't have much trust in anyone, let alone the God we cannot see. And yet, if by grace and by the work of the Holy Spirit in us, by baptism and by confirmation, we ask the Lord just very simply, increase my faith. Increase my faith. God will give you eyes to see and ears to hear His action in your lives. You'll penetrate through the darkness, through the difficulty, and you'll begin to see. It's a walk by faith, but you'll begin to see, and God will give you confidence and strength to follow Him and to do it His way. It's not easy, but God will supply the faith if we ask for it. If I fix my gaze on Him now, I begin to experience more and more His action in our lives. You know, we've got to be attentive. God doesn't come in with a sledgehammer. He comes in with this small, still voice. We need to become sensitive and attentive. And if we ask the Holy Spirit, He will give it to us. Just keep asking.
Food for the Journey with Sister Ann Shields can be now heard on the audio archives page at AveMariaRadio.net.
Thank you for joining me, Dr. Ray here. Just got a note from my producer, Dick Russ, TV show Living Right with Dr. Ray. He said the premiere episodes of Living Right with Dr. Ray Season 14 are both from St. Louis. So, guys there at Covenant, Adam Wright, all of you, Teresa, Tony Holman, all that you did. The program will begin airing 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday, 2nd of September. Okay? So, and then 10 p.m. is the general viewing. So, season number 14, the new season, which we taped last year, Living Right with Dr. Ray, is beginning to air on starting September 2. So that's great. All new episodes, so I don't have to listen to some of you folks say, I saw that one. I saw it before. We're going to get another one. What they do is they just keep airing them, hoping I'm going to get it right. And I tried to tell them, no, it's the same thing. Every time you air it, it's the same thing. And they go, we're trying to get you a little more skilled at this, Dr. Roy. Michael from Portlandia. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. And we have talked several times about the importance of Al-Anon, but I'm not going to do that for you. All I want to do is give a message to Donna to go to an Al-Anon meeting where she can get weekly support on her relationship with her mother. And so you, for some reason, are not interested in Al-Anon, which I'll accept. But the message is for Donna. Go to an Al-Anon meeting. It will help you very much.
Well, Michael, I got to tell you, it's not that I'm not interested in Al-Anon. I think I have a more traditional view of Al-Anon than you do. You see Al-Anon as pretty much helping anybody with any kind of life situation. And for the most part, I still see it, and I think in general it is viewed as helping someone to deal with family members who are struggling either with addictions or preoccupations with chemicals. All right, let me see who we got here. All right, let me get this. Okay, I'll set that aside. I got about 2 minutes here. What do I want to talk about in that 2 minutes? I want to revisit, just briefly, as C.S. Lewis said, the most nonsensical thing that you can say about Jesus Christ, that he was a good man. No. If he was just a man, he was not a good man. He was a misleading, lying man. Or he was a man who was so confused about who he was, he thought he was God. And he was a man who talked people into doing things that ultimately got him killed. So no. You don't have that option. That's not an option left to you. The option left to you is you got to decide who he is. Now, there's plenty of evidence, I think, logical evidence. You don't need to start out with the Gospels are the Word of God and therefore they prove Jesus is who he said he is. No. You can just look at the logic behind what the Gospels were written about and what happened with the apostles, because we've got a lot of history on this. And we have plenty of history from non-gospel sources that Jesus existed. Anybody who said he didn't exist is just clueless. They know nothing about historical sources, especially some of the Roman sources. But I've found that People don't necessarily want to live according to reason, logic, and evidence. Not when it doesn't suit their purposes. They want to live according to self-interest. And if it's not in their self-interest to come to a conclusion about the God-man, they're going to find some way to invalidate him. And one of what they think is a kinder way to invalidate him is, well, he was a good man. I'll acknowledge that. No, you won't acknowledge that because that's foolish. Acknowledge that you don't believe who he said he was. I can at least understand that. But in saying he was a good man, you know nothing. Not only about Scripture, but about history and about the roots, the historical roots of Christianity. All right. I got to go. 877. I'm going to put that up on Instagram, by the way. That's something we got to put up on Instagram. 877-573-7825. Keep that number in your back pocket for emergency purposes. I'm Dr. Ray. Thanks, Andrew Kruchek. Thank you, Harry DeMont, and EWTN, and Ann Arbor, and all 184 of you. Walk with God. He is who he said he is.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.